As climate change and rising carbon dioxide emissions cause havoc across the world, could communal cattle farmers of southern Africa be sitting on a true green gold mine? Lion Tete is a cattle farmer, but has unintentionally also become a carbon farmer. His mission to restore their degraded rangelands has already helped him and his co-op farmers to earn good profits from their cattle. And now, their communities could also earn an additional income from carbon credits. Every Wednesday is dipping day here in Valverdient. The farmers know how important it is to dip their cattle regularly to control external parasites like ticks and flies that carry fatal diseases. During these dipping sessions, state veterinarians also monitor the cattle for signs of foot and mouth disease. Here, they are surrounded by the Kruger National Park and other large fenced game reserves. When Lion Tete returned to his village after retiring, he was alarmed by the dwindling patches of grass and the growing number of unattended cattle that roamed on the rangelands. He persuaded his fellow farmers that cattle roaming free and unattended led to overgrazed rangelands. This is communal land, where everyone is dependent on the same natural forage. With the buy-in of several farmers, they agreed to close off one section of the rangeland to manage the grazing.
At this camp, we used to rest it during the raining season because the cattle is grazing that side. As it's raining, that camp is very little. So as it's raining, the grass come out and the branches are getting up. Then by 1st of June in winter, we open here. The grass is so tall, as you can see.
Resting one side of the rangeland during the growing season gives the most palatable grasses time to recover. These grasses are nutritious and are vital to supporting healthy animals and healthy soils. Lion Tete's efforts to restore native grasses gained further momentum with the appointment of eco-rangers. Recruited from the community, these professional herders are trained in conservation-friendly rangeland and livestock practices. The herders sign conservation agreements with the farmers and help them to prepare their cattle for the red meat market. In exchange, the farmers agree to comply with the plan to rotate resting and grazing between the seasons and to have their cattle collectively herded by the professional herders.
Because normally we have like older people in the village that have retired from work, and then they have cattle, they see their cattle as assets, as their money, and then we sit down with them and then we help them to do planned grazing in order to save their cattle through drought, as we've got a lot of differences with the climate change. But we have seen so many changes on the ground due to the grass growing and also people saving their nature and also benefiting through that.
The herders and farmers plan the rotational calendar and stocking rate based on the carrying capacity of the different grazing camps.
We're put in place it's here. So our plan here is to make sure that we do our monitoring and compliance into Camp 2A, so that there's no cattle that get into this camp.
The herders also conduct surveys of the vegetation and monitor the effects of plant grazing on the grass biomass of each camp.
42, 26, 44. Just worried about the water, but it's still looking good. It's still sealed.
It fits nice in the chin. It's nice
So-
in there. It's
so-
working well.
so-
Cliff and his team have also fitted GPS collars to some of the cattle to monitor compliance and to track seasonal grazing patterns in the different camps. They can track the movement of the cattle live on their cell phones 24/7.
It's live recording, so you can see anytime where the cattle are. And if you see the cattle is in the wrong camp, you can just
That's
quickly
right.
contact the farmer.
The eco-rangers, together with a team of herd monitors, have become the true guardians and restorers of the local rangelands. Scientists assist them to protect the soil and improve grass productivity. They help to rehabilitate erosion gullies and dongas by packing pruned branches to break the speed of runoff water. This will protect the topsoil and stimulate new grass growth. The eco-rangers also need to do bush thinning to mimic the role of the large leaf eaters. In savanna ecosystems, large browsing animals like the elephant are important landscapers of the vegetation. They push down large trees and browse on the leaves. This helps to keep woody plants from becoming overly abundant in the landscape. But in these communal rangelands, large browsers no longer roam free. Because heavy grazing of grasses by livestock occurs, trees tend to gain a competitive advantage over grasses. When this happens, trees such as the sickle bush take over. The eco-rangers thin out the impenetrable thickets to open up more grass-growing areas. They leave the freshly pruned branches on the most degraded areas. These brush packs are an effective barrier to grazers, giving grass the chance to regrow and for new seed to germinate. When the brush pack is lifted after a year or so, a vibrant new microhabitat is revealed.
As you can see, also the soil is loose here compared to over here.
Right, right.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
loose.
It really is.
Yeah, it was very friable soil.
With access to more nutritious grass all year round, Lion Tete and his co-farmers can concentrate on rearing younger and better conditioned animals.
It's very much productive because I've got more young. I've got more calves. It's about 18 this year. The old ones, more than 9 years, I start selling them. I've got 1 year that I should have sold it from the auction, only to find that it's now expecting a calf. Then I leave it.
Lion Tete and his co-farmers now produce well-conditioned, free-range, grass-fed animals. The eco-rangers arrange mobile auctions, bringing commercial buyers to the farmers so that the farmers can receive market-related prices for their animals, which is unheard of for rural farmers. While many farmers in the area still need to be convinced to join the grazing associations, Lion Tete knows that the practice of seasonal resting and grazing is now becoming entrenched in his area.
Yeah, now everyone respects it. Everyone, no one we can get his cattle inside, never. We just talk to them and show them by doing until they understand.
By restoring their rangelands, the farmers in the Mnisi rangelands have only started to uncover the wealth of the rangelands they are managing. It is well known that natural rangelands that have never been plowed have greater soil carbon than agricultural lands. With improved grass growth, they could continue to sequester carbon. The perennial grasses in the rested camps are likely forming large below-ground root components that draw atmospheric carbon back into the soil. These projected carbon removals could help with climate change mitigation. For communities that live within these rangelands, this presents an opportunity to earn an additional income through carbon credits. Lion Tete is on his next mission, convincing his co-op that herds dominated by young female animals are more profitable. They also emit less methane during digestion, especially if they graze good quality, high-protein grasses. Younger herds could also earn the community additional carbon revenue for reducing livestock-based emissions. The eco-rangers and Lion Tete have already started to experiment with using mobile biomass to fertilize their crop yards, and at the same time, this reduces emissions of nitrous oxide that can build up in permanent kraals. Scientists are assisting the communities with the technical expertise of the verification and sale of carbon credits. They developed a sampling strategy to obtain a baseline of soil carbon and will verify the carbon units issued through continued sampling. The farmers of Mnisi are beginning to realize that protecting the grass and soil is as vital to the health of their cattle as dipping is. And if they succeed in turning their rangelands around, soil organic carbon and methane reductions may one day stack up right next to cattle as their most valuable assets.